Hey there and welcome to BingeBot. We recap all the latest and greatest TV to help keep you in the loop. This time we're checking out The Wheel of Time Season 3, which is based on the fantasy novels by Robert Jordan, which follows an enormous cast of characters who battle for both good and evil in a world dominated by prophecy, power, and pride. Following their victory during a massive battle at the end of Season 2, it seems like our heroes have taken the upper hand, but as always, a legion of scheming enemies known as the Dark Friends continue to threaten the safety of the land in service of their otherworldly lord, the Dark One. As always, if you guys want to support our channel, you can do so via YouTube memberships, Patreon, or Buy Me a Coffee, and unlock some cool perks. And we also love hearing everyone's opinions in the comments, so be sure you sound off and let us know what you thought of this adaptation of Robert Jordan's classic books. Alright, let's dive right into The Wheel of Time Season 3, starting with Episode 1, To Race the Shadow. In the city of Tar Valon, where the powerful magic-wielding women known as the Aes Sedai live and rule, their leader, Siuan Sanche, calls an emergency meeting. Calling forth the Aes Sedai Liandrin, Siuan exposes her of being a Dark Friend, a servant of the all-powerful evil entity known as the Dark One. Cornered, Liandrin fights back and directs the Black Aja, a hidden Aes Sedai faction loyal to the Shadow, to join her. Chaos erupts in the hall as a number of sisters stand up and attack the rest. Throwing around weaves of flame and wind, they murder many Aes Sedai and their loyal protectors, who are known as warders. And though a few of them are apprehended and some lose their lives, the Black Aja are able to escape the Aes Sedai's clutches and flee the city. Hearing of the Black Aja's escape, the young man prophesies to save the world. Rand and his friends, who all happen to be in Tar Valon, struggle to decide their next move. According to their Aes Sedai helper, Moiraine, their best bet is to go to Tyr, a powerful city where Kalendor, a sword that Rand can use to greatly amplify his abilities, is located. Telling the group that they will depart at dawn, Moiraine heads into the city with her warder Lan, where she's approached by the Forsaken Lanfear, one of the Dark One's generals. Given that she's in love with Rand, Lanfear wants him to head for Kalendor as well, but claims that all his friends do is hold him back. Seeing that they both want the same thing, Moiraine agrees to let Lanfear attack the group at night so that Rand, blaming himself, will push his friends away to keep them safe.
He told me you've been coming to him since Farm, in his dreams. That you're pushing him for the same thing I am. To go to Tyr, to get Kalendor.
Meanwhile, Egwene, Rand's lover and ally, heads to the Aes Sedai's headquarters, the White Tower, where she asks to take a test that would get her promoted from a White Tower novice to an accepted, just one step below being a full Aes Sedai. In the final test, Egwene is given a glimpse of a potential future where Rand goes mad from overusing his magic, and she ends up having to kill him. Though she manages to complete the trial, this leaves her greatly disturbed. Later that night, while most of Rand's friends are asleep, Lanfear uses her powerful magical channeling to attack them in a variety of ways. Creating doppelgangers of Rand, she attacks the real Rand and Egwene while using a magical axe to attack Perrin and Loial. Simultaneously, she enchants Mat with a magical deck of cards, while Nynaeve is attacked next to him by an assassin. Since the attack was ultimately not meant to kill them, the group manages to survive, but are appropriately scared. So when it's time to leave, Nynaeve announces that she'll be staying in the White Tower to overcome the mental block, preventing her from channeling her magical powers. Having blown the mystical Horn of Valir to summon an army of heroes during the Battle of Falm, Mat now finds his mind overloaded with memories of countless past lives. Needing Nynaeve's help to fix his tortured mind, Mat decides to stay with her. Feeling things have gotten way too big for a simple blacksmith like himself, Perrin decides to head back home to the Two River regions, with Loial deciding to accompany him for the journey. Wishing them all luck, Rand leaves with Egwene, Moiraine, Lan, and Aviendha, who's a member of the fierce desert warrior people, the Aiel. Rather than head for Tyr, however, Rand decides that he needs an army and declares that he will go to the Aiel Waste, the land of the Aiel warriors, where he is awaited as their prophesied leader, known as the Kara Karn. Episode 2, A Question of Crimson. Having been previously captured by Liandrin, Elaine has now returned to the White Tower, where she learns that her mother, Queen Morghese of Andor, has come to Tar Valon, along with her consort, Lord Gaebril. Also accompanying them is Morghese's advisor, Elaida, a rival Aes Sedai that Siuan beat to become the Amyrlin Seat, the leader of the Aes Sedai. Furious that Siuan allowed her daughter to be captured, Morghese demands that Elaine come back home with her, and although Elaine tries to protest, Morghese is very insistent. Traveling through the Ways, the enchanted pathways that allow for fast travel, Perrin returns to the Two Rivers, but discovers that his village is being threatened by Trollocs, creatures serving the Dark One. On top of that, the military organization, the White Cloaks, are also nearby, looking for Perrin specifically for killing one of their generals, Geofram Bornhald, during the Battle of Falm. Realizing that he needs to lay low, Perrin is escorted to a room where he meets Moraine's friend, the Aes Sedai Alanna, and her warder Maxim, who are also being hidden since the White Cloaks and the Aes Sedai are mortal enemies. Calling Elaine and Nynaeve to her office, Siuan expresses her concern that there might still be a Black Aja hiding in the tower. Due to the fact that they were captured by Liandrin, Elaine and Nynaeve are the only people that Siobhan can be sure are trustworthy, and therefore, she tasks them with finding the traitors. On the way to the Aiel Waste, Egwene has horrifying nightmares about the time that she was captured, enslaved, and tortured by the Shan-Chan Empire, a totalitarian regime that enslaves women who can channel and then uses them as weapons. Unbeknownst to her, these nightmares are being inflicted on her by Lanfear in Teleran Riode, the world of dreams. And desperate to flee the pain, Egwene suddenly finds herself in the middle of a desert with an Aiel woman who casts her out of the dream. Tasked with her new mission, Elaine makes an impassioned plea before Morghese that for the sake of both her country and the world, the best place for Elaine to be is in the White Tower. So moved by her words, Morghese allows Elaine to stay, but before returning home with Gabriel, she leaves behind Elaine's brothers, Galad and Gawain, as well as Elaida to watch over her. Finally arriving at the edge of the Aiel Waste, Rand and his party are suddenly surrounded by a contingent of Aiel, including Bear, the woman that Egwene had seen in her dream. Episode 3: Seeds of Shadow. Walking down a shadowy hall, Lord Gabriel, who is actually a Forsaken named Ravin in disguise, is met by Lanfear. Greeting his fellow Forsaken, Gabriel asks Lanfear the reason behind this meeting. Proposing an alliance, Lanfear asks for his help in taking out the Forsaken Moghedien, citing her as dangerously unpredictable. Promising to consider it, Ravin ends the meeting, but after the two leave, he turns around to talk with Moghedien, who had been secretly eavesdropping. Granted access to the captured Black Aja sisters, Elaine and Nynaeve conduct an interrogation, and come to the conclusion that Liandrin is headed for the port city of Tanchico, her birthplace. Suspecting that Liandrin is looking for an Adam, a magical collar that'll allow her to enslave Rand, the two decide to head out after her. Meeting with other sisters of the Red Aja, her division of the Aes Sedai, Elaida urges them to form a group to capture and control Rand, as she believes that he'll be a source of turmoil and division in the world.
What are you proposing?
That we call for a vote in the hall to send a group of 8 sisters to find Rand al'Thor and cage him.
Meanwhile, hoping to pressure Perrin, the White Cloaks, under Geofram's son, Dane Bornhold, arrest Mat's mother and sisters, and considering them as his family, Perrin decides to organize a small party to covertly rescue them. Led by the Aiel, Rand and the others are told to march to a city called Ruidian, where Rand must undergo a trial to prove himself the Kara Karn. On the way, Egwene tells Bear about her nightmares and shows bruises that appear on her real body when she wakes up from the torture in her dreams. Explaining that only a living person can wound another in the Teleran Riode, Bear offers to teach Egwene how to protect herself. Wanting to use her power for good, the fortune teller Min, who had previously come into contact with Rand and his party, becomes a spy for Siobhan, while posing as a servant at the White Tower. During a conversation with Mat, she has a vision of him hanging in front of a twisted red doorway, and visibly panicked, she walks off as Galad pushes Mat away from her, thinking him the cause of her concern. Later that day, when Nynaeve informs Mat that she is leaving, Galad once again interrupts Mat, thinking that he is harassing Nynaeve, and angered, Mat challenges him and his brother to a duel. Though they confidently accept, the arrogant princes are taught a lesson when Mat easily wipes the floor with them by just using a staff. And seeing how he was able to handle himself, Nynaeve agrees to let Mat accompany them to Tanchico, and the three sneak off during the night. Though, unbeknownst to them, they are tailed by Min. Episode 4: The Road to the Spear. During a conversation with the Aiel, Moiraine learns that they have foreseen that she too must walk through the sacred and mysterious city of Ruidian with Rand. As they approach the outskirts of the city, Rand questions the Aiel clan chief, Ruark, about the upcoming trial. Showing him a dragon tattoo on his left arm, Ruark explains that all clan chiefs who pass the trial in Ruidian are magically marked, but when the Kara Karn completes the trial, he will have dragon tattoos on both arms. Climbing over a hill, they finally catch sight of Ruidian, finding it abandoned in the middle of the desert, covered in a thick mist. Granted permission to enter the city, Moiraine is told that she will witness thousands of variations of the future, while Rand will experience his ancestors' memories and learn the true history of the Aiel. Wading into the mist, the two eventually come upon a great tree. Separating from Moiraine, Rand enters a forest of crystal pillars, and with each forward step he takes, his mind is assaulted by older and older memories. Accessing his father Janduin's memory, he witnesses a moment where Janduin found Rand's dead mother's body after a battle, and taking a few more steps, he witnesses the birth of the first modern Aiel warriors, who were cast out of the Tuatha'an, a tribe of extreme pacifists, for committing murder even though it was in self-defense. Standing by the tree, Moiraine notices something unusual and uses magic to part the tree's branches, unveiling a small white orb. Sensing it to be special, Moiraine pockets the orb and heads off to participate in a trial designed for the Aiel Wise Ones, the Aiel equivalent of the Aes Sedai. Stepping into a contraption made from 3 giant rings, she is levitated into the air and witnesses countless potential futures, most of which end with her dying at the hands of Lanfear. Meanwhile, Rand witnesses one of his ancestors being handed the same white orb for safekeeping and learns that it is the Sakarnan, a power-enhancing item equal in strength to the sword Kalendor, but intended for use by female channelers. Finally, he observes an ancestor who was present when Lanfear and the other Forsaken breached the fabric of reality, opening a gate that allowed the Dark One, an otherworldly entity, to enter their universe.
Blood ancestors.
Having learned the entire history of the Aiel, an exhausted Rand finds his arms covered with 2 dragon tattoos, revealing that he truly is the Kara Karn, the Chief of Chiefs. Episode 5, Teleran Riode. Completing her trial as well, Moiraine brings the Sakarnan out of Rudian and tests it, exhibiting incredible power. Guided by Ruark, Rand and the others are escorted to the home of the Tardad, the clan that Ruark leads, and there, they are introduced to the rest of his family, including a little girl named Elsera, who Rand quickly befriends. Back in Tar Valon, Elaida meets with Siuan in her chambers and announces that she is having a vote called among the Aes Sedai to decide on the matter of caging Rand. Fulfilling her promise, Bear begins to teach Egwene about the Teleran Riode. Falling asleep, Egwene, Bear, and another Aiel Wise One named Melaine enter the dream world, where Egwene is taught that whatever one believes in Teleran Riode simply happens. Believing with enough conviction will allow her to instantly change clothes, go to any location, and cast anyone out of Teleran Riode, provided that her belief is stronger than her opponent's. Suddenly, Egwene is transported to a dream city where she is assaulted by Lanfear, and despite her efforts, she is unable to free herself and is only saved when the Wise Ones wake up her real body and explain that the cause for her nightmares had been Lanfear all along. Meanwhile, traveling on a boat to Tanchico, Matt ends up spotting Min. During a conversation in Min's quarters, Matt unfolds a drawing that Min had made of her vision, and upon questioning, Min explains that she wanted to remember every detail and followed him to Tanchico, all to find a way to save his life. Approaching the White Cloaks' camp, Perrin and his party split up. Tasked with distracting the soldiers, Alana and Maxim head off while Perrin prepares to sneak in. Joining him is an adventurer named Fail, who happened to be passing through the 2 rivers and had taken a liking to Perrin. And under the cover of a thick mist created by Alana, Perrin and his crew infiltrate the camp. And though successful in freeing Matt's sisters, Perrin finds Matt's mother has been burnt to death. Suddenly, a contingent of White Cloaks discover Alana's location, and although she sustains some serious injuries, she and Maxim manage to kill their attackers. Visited by Lanfear in his dream, Rand and the Forsaken have a discussion about redemption and embracing one's inner light and darkness before sharing an intimate moment. But unbeknownst to Rand, however, Egwene secretly enters his dream and catches him cheating on her with her tormentor. Episode 6, The Shadow in the Night. Arriving in Tanchico, Matt and his group begin looking for both the Adam and the Black Aja sisters. And while talking to a patron at an inn, Nynaeve and Min discover exactly where Liandrin is staying. Visiting Rand at night, Egwene confronts him about what she saw, and explaining his betrayal, Rand notes that Egwene always had her own ambitions, and that he ultimately never seemed to be enough for her. Realizing that they have drifted apart, the 2 break things off. However, when Egwene reveals that Lanfear was the cause of her nightmares, Rand is taken aback, not expecting Lanfear could have done something so horrific.
I don't know what you're talking about.
My dreams. Where the Sultan tortured me. It was your Lanfear.
Still reeling from the news, Rand is ambushed by a Forsaken named Samael, who teleports into his room along with a few soldiers. Hearing the commotion, Aviendha bursts in and throws a flaming spear into Samael's shoulder before killing his troops. But barely phased, Samael delivers a massive blow that knocks Aviendha and Egwene out. Furious, Rand unleashes his true strength and brings Samael down with a shower of lightning. And though the Forsaken is dealt with, this also demolishes the house that Rand was staying in. Waking up, Aviendha sees the destruction and calls out for Elsera, who is sleeping upstairs. And horrified, Rand turns back and realizes that his actions have led to the little girl being crushed under the rubble. Pouring all of his power into her body, he tries to revive her, and despite everyone urging him to stop, Rand screams with a tinge of madness that he is capable of anything. But only when his efforts yield no result does he stop feeling utterly defeated. Episode 7, Golden Eyes. Learning that an army of Trollocs has already arrived nearby and is headed for the Two Rivers, Perrin organizes the villagers and has them set up defensive fortifications. Arranging a meeting with the White Cloaks, Perrin offers to surrender himself in exchange for assistance, but distrustful, Dane refuses. Standing guard outside of the village, Perrin hears the Trollocs roar and rallies his troops. Commanded by Moxim, the villagers unleash volleys upon volleys of arrows, but the enemy remains undeterred. Telepathically communicating with Alanna, Moxim sends a signal, and linking together with every woman in the village with the latent potential to channel, Alanna utilizes their combined strength to shower the enemy with crystalline blades from a nearby cliff, forcing their retreat. Leaving the others to guard the entrance, Perrin and Fael head back to reconvene with Alanna when, out of nowhere, Alanna is shot through the chest by a small enemy force that had infiltrated from the back. And with Alanna injured, the Two River folks are unable to hold the enemy back and are forced to retreat behind the village gates. Suddenly, a white cloak horn starts blowing. While the villagers welcome Dane and his men in, Perrin catches a familiar face among them, Padan Fain, a known dark friend wearing white cloak colors. Despite his shouts, Perrin is far too late as Fain and a contingent of disguised dark friends begin slaughtering both villagers and white cloaks alike. Awaiting this opportunity, the Trollocs outside also burst through, seemingly spelling doom for the Two Rivers. Desperate and holding nothing back, Perrin slays as many as he can until he reaches Padan Fain. And sensing his fear, Perrin orders Fain to call away the Trollocs in exchange for his life. Terrified, Fain eventually complies and calls for a retreat. Almost unable to believe their eyes, the villagers start cheering and rallying around Perrin, though not before Fael kisses him passionately. However, the following morning, Perrin is called out by Dane to fulfill his end of the bargain. Despite everyone's protests, Perrin agrees to surrender. Episode 8, He Who Comes with the Dawn. Watching the Black Ajah's hideout, Nynaeve notices that the Aes Sedai are leaving, so calling everyone over, she starts tailing them. Discovering a lead on the Adam, Liandrin makes her way through a Tanshiko higher-up's manor, killing any guard that dares to stop her. Arriving right behind them, Nynaeve and the rest split up and head in to search for the collar. Having finally wised up to Lanfear's true nature, Rand, along with Egwene, antagonizes Lanfear in Teleran Riode.
You're a monster, Lanfear.
Setting the bait, the two wake up, and along with Moiraine and the Wise Ones, wait for Lanfear to attack. And though furious, Lanfear doesn't fall for the trap. At Moraine's urging, the group head for the Alcair Dal, the Aiel meeting place where Rand must declare himself the Kara Karn before every Aiel clan. Meeting with the head of the Shido, a clan who are bitter rivals with Roark's Tardad clan, Lanfear falsely grants their leader, Couladin, the markings of the Kara Karn, propping him up as Rand's rival. Working in her chambers, Siuan learns that Elaida has sent 8 sisters out of the tower to capture Rand. And fearing that Elaida means to remove his ability to channel, known as stilling, Siuan sends her most trusted sisters after them. Unfortunately, this plays right into Elaida's hands, who calls a vote to depose Siuan as the Amarylline seat, accusing her of being a dark friend that prevented the Aes Sedai from capturing Rand.
With 11 seaters, enough to meet Tower Law, and by unanimous vote, as required, deposed you.
Without enough sisters present to vote in her favor, Siuan loses and is both deposed and stilled. Marching into a room full of artifacts, Mat and Min come across a familiar twisted red doorway, but before Min can warn him, Mat accidentally slips through and is teleported. Arriving in a strange room, Mat is confronted by a mysterious fox-like creature from another dimension known as an eelfin, who asks Mat to name 3 wishes.
What is your need, Matrim Kothon?
How do you know my name?
Speak.
Panicked though, Mat tells the eelfin he wants nothing to do with any magic. What he wants is for his memories to be fixed and to be sent back out of the room. Informing him that his wishes have indeed been granted, the eelfin sends Mat out, but leaves him hanging in front of the doorway where a Black Ajah sister finds him. Seeing Mat return, Min, who had been hiding, knocks her out and pulls Mat down, saving his life. Meanwhile, Nynaeve manages to locate the Adam and exits the manor, only to be ambushed by Liandrin, who steals the magical collar and flings Nynaeve into the sea. Fortunately, this becomes the catalyst to unseal Nynaeve's mental block. Conquering her fear of her own power, Nynaeve parts the sea around her in a magnificent display of strength and walks out. While Rand walks out among the Aiel and Elkar Dal, Moiraine takes a Sakarnan and prepares for battle. Hitting her with a surprise attack, Lanfear starts to choke her, but Moiraine manages to recover, and with the help of Lan, pushes Lanfear back. Throwing Lan away, Lanfear grabs his sword and stabs Moiraine. At the same time, having been declared the new Amyrlin seat, Elaida brings Siuan before her and asks her to confess for her crimes. Delivering an impassioned speech, Siuan states that all of her actions were for the sake of defeating the Dark One, and the only hope the Aes Sedai have for survival is by declaring their allegiance to Rand. And seeing that Siuan will remain defiant, Elaida has her executed.
I defy you, Elaida!
The vote was already done. You were sentenced to death.
Given that Siuan was the love of her life, Moiraine instantly senses her death through a magical oath that they shared. And gripped by sorrow and inner turmoil, Moiraine is able to reach deeper into her magical powers and musters enough strength to furiously deliver Lanfear a serious wound, forcing her to retreat in fear. Meanwhile, before Rand can reveal his dragon tattoos, Couladin walks out and declares himself the true Kara Karn. Walking up to him, Rand displays his arms and reminds the Aiel of their prophecies, which fit him better than Couladin.
It's time for you to hear the truth of the Aiel. I saw the history of the Aiel through my ancestors' eyes.
Delivering the final blow, Rand openly announces the history of the Aiel from Ruad'Din, a history that's known only to clan chiefs. This revelation causes the other chiefs to declare him the true Kara Karn, but it causes a rift among the Aiel, who are blindsided by the fact they were once a peace-loving folk who broke a firm oath by choosing violence instead. Calling Rand a liar, Couladin walks away, taking with him half of the Aiel as they refuse to accept Rand as the true Kara Karn. Declaring that all who turn their back on him will die, Rand displays his full strength and starts a rainstorm in the middle of the desert. While Egwene watches in horror and begs him to stop channeling, Rand remains stoic as his entire body is hidden from view by the vast amounts of power that are flowing through him. And that wraps up our recap of The Wheel of Time Season 3. Hey, thanks for watching and for sticking around until the end. What did you guys think of this new season? Is this a great adaptation or is it just overrated schlock? As always, if you guys want to support our channel, you can do so via YouTube memberships, Patreon, or Buy Me a Coffee. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell so you never miss a new one. We'll be back soon with another recap, list, and other videos on your favorite TV and more. But for now, BingeBot is logging off.